Hey guys, this is Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, the mayor of Britsburg, and you're listening to Wrestling Cheers Podcast.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
And welcome back to Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, even if we're getting kicked out, but we might find a new place. Anyway, this is Wrestling Cheers. We like to talk about things going on in the Northeast Ohio independent wrestling scene. We preview shows, we review shows, and sometimes we even have interviews along the way. This is a review episode of AIW's Hell on Earth 14. I am your host. I am Heavy Set. Before we get into all of that, let's get into a little bit of housekeeping. Please rate, review, and subscribe to wherever you're listening to this podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Please like, subscribe, follow us on all your social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose to desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com. And we have the merch store over at whatamaneuver.net. Like I said, we will be talking about AIW's final show at Our Lady of Mount Carmel, Hell on Earth 14. And who do we have on the show this week? Well, first off, we have Stacy.
Hey, how's it going, man?
How's it going?
It's going good. Excited to talk about the final Mount Carmel show.
All right, and then we also... Nope, just us. Just me and you.
Yeah.
We haven't done
it. You swerved me there. I thought I had missed somebody else joining the chat.
No, just me and you. I think the last two-man show was me and you.
It may have been.
I was like, fuck it. I'm like, well, Stacy's in. We're going to do enough talking, so if we don't have a third person, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah. So let's talk about one thing that, we'll get to kind of later, but you were the big person. I didn't even think about having you on for this. This makes total sense.
Is that a bad joke?
No.
Sorry, man. You said I was the big person. I don't know. Cheap joke.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm big too. Like,
yeah.
I have literally no room to speak because we're both fat. Anyway, L.A. Park. That is where you are a huge fan of him. And I told him, like I said, I didn't even think about we could have had you on the preview, but I don't know, review, how was it to meet L.A. Park?
It was awesome. He was great. He does not speak a lot of English. I was the last person who got a photo op with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they called last call. Dude, I'll be honest, I don't get claustrophobic much, but there were a fucking lot of people in that building.
Yeah.
And to get from where I'm at in the bleachers, because of that ramp, I had to go all the way around. And that back part, people were pushed all the way up against the gimmick tables.
Yeah. It was nuts.
And I was I had a fucking mental health moment, man, where I was like, oh, man, I don't know if I can, get through this crowd. But there was no way I wasn't getting the photo op. So when I heard him call last call, I was like, well, fuck it, I'm going. Yeah. I don't know if he's coming back at intermission. And it was awesome, man. It was real good.
The thing that I'd mentioned to somebody at some point of the show, either the intermission or before the show, is how packed it was in that building. If you were trying to walk around, it was like the one-lane construction traffic, where it's one lane going both ways, so you have a flagger, so at one point, you have to stop, you have to let a whole bunch of people through, and then you and probably a bunch of people behind you are going to go that same way, but just opposite.
Yeah.
So it's it was
if you're packed. A bigger person, I'm fucking huge, so it made it even more tight for me, and I feel bad, people have to move out of my way, you interrupt people's conversations,
yeah.
I don't know. That's my own mental illness with that shit, but. Yeah, man. There were a lot of fucking people. which is good. I'm glad that a bunch
yeah.
of people came out.
That, like, I had kind of mentioned that Hell on Earth, I want to say, was 10, which was the last one at Turner's Hall. It was packed, and it had that same feeling, and I wanted to have that same thing here. And thank God, like, I don't know what it was like to be someone who showed up late, because that parking lot was full earlier than normal. And normally, even if you show up late, like, you're searching for a parking spot, so it was probably definitely worse. And I don't know how far away people parked. I don't know if people did use Uber like it was suggested, or Lyft, or whatever ride-sharing app you'd prefer to use, but it was awesome to see.
We got there early, so we had a pretty close spot.
Yeah.
I assumed it was going to be what it was,
like,
as far as parking went.
The way Thorne was talking about it, I was like, is it filled now? What the fuck's going on?
Right. Yeah, no, when that conversation was going down, it certainly wasn't full.
Yeah.
But in comparison, so last year I had to work on Black Friday.
Ironically enough, normally I don't have to work, but I did work this Black Friday.
Yeah. So last year I got there like right as intermission was ending, right? And I was still able to get a parking space. It wasn't a real space. I used, like, up against the building, there's those hashed out marks in front of the one set of doors, like down towards the end of the building, where it's not really a parking space. It's like a divider.
Yeah.
I parked in that. but like that, there was no way that was even open at intermission of this show. Like, I saw some very questionable park jobs when I stepped outside.
Yeah. Like, the thing that I tried this show that I hadn't tried any other show, it's something, if you've listened to the show long enough, I've somewhat mentioned, and it's that normally I sit on one particular side of the ring. Like, literally every Mount Carmel show I've been to, it's been, I don't know how you want to describe it. It's, if the gymnasium...
Like opposite the entrance, right?
Yeah, opposite of the entrance. I was going to say, if the gymnasium was bare, it's opposite of the stage.
Yeah.
So, like, literally the first Mount Carmel show, AIW Mount Carmel show, I sat in that row, as front row, more on the opposite corner that I normally do, closer to commentary. But as time went on, like, that's kind of was our spot. Like, you know, my group with, Caden and, all the people that, started becoming friends with Caden, Justin Doan, Leonard Bibbs, and all those kind of people. And, like, that was my home. Like, that, I was really OCD about my spot. I think the only time that I didn't sit front row at that show, at a show there, was a time when I was, like, second row, because I got a ticket late. So, right. But I'd always talked about, I kind of wanted to try sitting in a different spot, but I'm too stubborn, where I'm like, no, I'm just going to take my spot. And thinking about it, like, the day before, or even the day of, I was like, man, I keep talking about wanting to sit in different spots. This is the last show at fucking Mount Carmel, so I'm going to take the spot that I've wanted to for a while, and I sat on commentary side, front row, with Thrift Store Jobber, Patrick, Rick, Mrs. Jobber. I think it was put on her chair. But it was like, it was a different experience. And number one, I felt like I got way better videos, way better pictures. And granted, it's because I'm on Hardcam's side, so people aren't going to be blocking me. And I think that helped out with, whatever. Like, I know AIW fan Reese pretty much openly stole the Instagram video that I had of Donst and Justice breaking the stage, breaking the ramp. And,
what a good spot that was.
I think I was the only person that had video of that. And it, like, that was one of those moments that, like, as soon as it was done, I was like, oh, thank God I got that one, because that one was good.
Dude, I saw somebody do a boomerang of that was hilarious.
Yeah, I seen that too. That's on I know the Wrestling Cheers Twitter feed. I think I retweeted it, but yeah, that. And they were on the ramp, like, closer to the entrance, so they got, like, a behind view, and, like, yeah, the boomerang was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed a few people kind of traveled around and got different spots. Like, I know Young Ed was back and forth between over where you guys were and up in the bleachers where we were. I took in my last time of sitting in what I will forever say is the best view for wrestling I've ever had. I would have paid front row price for that seat at the top of the bleachers, dead center of the ring. It's perfect. It's like the view that you get on TV from Hardcam.
I believe it.
Of wrestling. That is the thing that I'm the saddest about from Mount Carmel. It's like, the best view I've ever had of wrestling. I will never have it.
And you never sat in the bleachers at Akron.
No, they're different. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the view from back there might be good. I kind of like the front row at Akron.
Yeah, as do I. It's a nice venue. I can't wait till we go back to it at some point.
I dig Tadmore Shrine. I think if things have to be a little, mobile for a while where there's not a permanent home for AIW, hitting that up maybe 3 times a year instead of 2 times a year, I know I'd buy a ticket every time. I'm going to be fucking kidding. I'll buy a ticket every time, whatever. But
I like the fact that the Akron shows have to be on Saturday.
It's nice. I like going to a show on Saturday. I realize it's probably harder to get talent in on a Saturday. There's more competition, but I like the Saturday shows.
Yeah, I'm the same way, but because if I know for me, I work Monday through Friday. So if I have off that day, I have I'm using a vacation day, or I'm just taking a hit saying, okay, I'm not going to get paid for this day, but at least I'm going to be able to show up to the show. But even though, going back to what I was saying earlier, normally I don't work Black Fridays. I haven't worked a Black Friday in I don't know how long. And then I was told we were going to have to work, and I was trying to work out a deal with my boss. I'm like, I need to get back home, and this is something that I don't think I mentioned on Twitter. Like, I mentioned about the whole incident, but I told him I had to be home because I had a family event. And that's me meaning AIW, not necessarily just lying. I was meaning AIW. And sure. I worked out a deal because there were a couple people on my account who were off. They took vacation days.
Yeah.
I normally deliver in Columbus, in what's called Groveport, at 2 in the afternoon. I delivered at 9:20 in the morning.
Nice.
I woke up at 5 a.m. and had to leave my terminal, which is in North Jackson, at about 6:30. Oh, God.
It was a long day for you, man.
Oh, it was. The great thing is, towards the end of the show, I didn't feel it. But by the time I got home, end of the show, I was just man, I'm tired. I'm not I'm not to fall asleep, but my body was just worn. So then, obviously, driving home, and then by the time I got home and allowed my body to wind down, I don't think I went to bed till 2 in the morning.
I didn't get to bed. I mean, we didn't get home until 5 a.m. So
yeah, that's the other, because people are like, oh, are you going to go to the after party? I'm like, no, dude, I've been up since 5 a.m. I can't do that shit. And then drive home. That's
why we never go to the afters. Because if we go to the after, it's 7 a.m., 8 a.m. when we get home. I'm too fucking old, man. Too fucking old. Young me would have done that shit all day. I'm too fucking old now.
So let's get into this show. And like normal, which is something I love about AIW, we started off with a couple matches that weren't announced.
Sure did.
Started off with Jock Sampson and Mance Warner versus Eric Ryan and Bobby Beverly versus Derek Director. I'm reading the Twitter handle. Goddamn, Derek. Can you just get Derek Director? Derek Director and Danhausen versus the Jollyville Fuckets. Thing that I have to mention that I had a little bit of fun with is when Jock and Mance came out, they were in jackets. They pulled down the zippers when they got in the ring, or the buttons, whatever exactly they were, and they're wearing Pittsburgh Steelers shit. Obviously,
fucking Steelers garb.
You got some cheers, but I think there was way more boos.
Well, yeah.
And then Eric Ryan and Bobby Beverly came out, and I know Bobby Beverly is a Browns fan. And I mentioned something to him. I'm like, rub your dick on that. First, he didn't know what I was talking about. He was about to rub his dick on, I think, Wayne. And I'm like, no. No, the fucking sweatshirt. He's like, oh. Then he starts rubbing it on his dick. Fucking amazing.
I don't know if it was intentional with this or if they just, it was just cheap heat and they went for it that way. But I kind of felt like it was Tracy's not here to make fun of your local sports team and promote a team from out of town. So we're going to take the Steelers heat that Tracy may have taken.
It's in between that and Jock is a Steelers fan.
Yeah, that's too bad for him.
I know. I had fun with him because...
Man, that means he's one of those fucking guys who's an Ohio State fan and a Steeler fan.
Yeah, because
that's like the two worst fan bases ever. Jesus Christ.
I joked around with him when he was in the ring and at the merch table. I was like, "Hail to the victors," because he actually, like, if you've noticed, like, he actually has that. Well, you obviously know he's a Buckeyes fan, but he has the Buckeye tattoo.
Yeah, that little O.
Yeah, but yeah, that's Jock's really good for coming out with that kind of shit on. The funny thing is, his high school has the Cleveland Browns colors.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He had a shirt that came out that was brown and orange. And I was like, oh, a Cleveland Brown shirt. He's like, that's my high school colors. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, at least his high school had taste.
This was a fun match to start off with because, number one, unannounced. But every team is, a well-loved AIW team. I feel like the Fuckets don't get enough love.
I agree.
Like, they're not in as many announced matches anymore. Like, it's like, oh, we're going to have a surprise tag match. Oh, yep, here's the Fuckets.
One, I don't know if maybe it's because it's like, so the Fuckets are a team who've been around AIW forever.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's like a big draw to announce them, but everybody's going to be happy to see them.
Yeah, that's true.
They make for a real nice surprise.
Oh yeah.
I'd love the Fuckets, man. They're great. That pounce is great every time. I like the Fuckets. I'm glad that they're booked all the time.
Yeah. It sucked when they were gone because they were around in the Turner's Halls days. And then like when we came to Mount Carmel, they were only around for like a handful of shows and then they just disappeared. They had some real life shit come up and I don't even think they were wrestling that much. If they did, it was like closer to where they're from. And then they were a mystery tag team a couple years back and like they've been back in full force, which I've been really happy because I was like, I don't want to say a critic against them, but they were one of those teams and like, it's like almost Ed with NJF where I was just like, I don't get these guys. And it was because I had never seen a promo of theirs. Like to see like their passion, like, okay, cool. They have fuck in their name. Like, why should I care about these guys? Yeah, the Pounce is cool. The Cannonball is cool, but like, look at all these other tag teams that we had at that time. It's like, well, these guys are cool too. Has them stand out? Then they cut a really good promo that was put on YouTube, and I'm like, okay, like that touched me. That like connected, and now like I get it. I get the Fuckets. So
best dressed team at the after party every time. For real, dude. They like shirt and tie every time.
I'm trying to remember if I've seen them. I don't go to many after parties. I went to the Rager one. I can't remember if they were there or not. Were they at Rager? I can't remember.
Yeah, they were at Wrestle Rager. I don't remember if they were at the after party.
Yeah.
They were on Wrestle Rager.
So this match ended with Jock Sampson and Manson Warner both pinning at the same time Bobby Beverly and Nasty Russ for the win.
Yeah. Man, another thing that I liked in this match was on the production end of things. It was very much Freebird rule. Like, it's been Derek and Eddie as a tag team for a while, and to switch it up and have Danhausen be in and Eddie just be out at ringside. I think it's cool that there's like that fluidity with that team where they're kind of mixing, different guys in when it's a tag team from the production and with, what happened later. And
yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. I would imagine that Frankie could be part of that in the future too, where there's that fluidity between, like which two guys do you get when you go up against the production?
I mean, we've even seen, Danhausen and Eddie, I feel like a lot. I think
it's been a team before for sure.
Yeah. And it's pretty much, it was, Magnum and Frankie, and then the other three, it was whatever.
Yeah.
Right after this match, MJF came out, and obviously Tracy Smothers wasn't there, as it was previously announced during the day on Twitter, which really sucked because I was looking forward to this match. My only issue, and this is coming from a fan standpoint, I think he's done it before lately. And I think Tracy is now going to be that unreliable dude where when I see him on the flyer, if AIW continues to book him, I don't think he's showing up. And I don't know whether, like, what his reasoning. I know last time it was because he couldn't get the day off work.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know nothing about nothing. It's not like I got like inside information, but my assumption, I think it was Young Ed and I talked about this at the show, is like, I think Tracy may have taken the date And my understanding is that dude's a pizza delivery driver.
Yep.
And Black Friday is a big fucking day in pizza.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of money to be made as a pizza driver that day. And I think he may have taken the date not realizing it was Black Friday and then backed out, or it may have been a work thing. I don't know. I feel like that's a safe guess if you were making guesses.
Yeah.
As to why he may have canceled again. I don't fault the guy. You got to make money.
Yeah.
It's a bummer that he canceled.
But what I'm saying is, like, if he gets announced for another show, I'm just like, okay, I believe it when I see it. Like,
yeah,
I don't think
it's not
going to happen. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think I want to say this is like his third booking in a row that he hasn't showed up at.
Yeah, but I like Tracy Smothers.
I mean, I like Tracy Smothers too. Like, he's been in some great matches. Like I mentioned it last week, like him versus Grado. Him versus Cole Cabana.
Him versus Swoggle.
There's definitely more. Like, he's just so great. And like, even if you, like I said, if you go to Powerbomb and watch his match versus Cole Cabana, I swear, it's literally 20 minutes before the match really starts. It's like a just big back and forth, but it's so good.
That sounds like a Tracy Smothers match. Yeah.
Oh, God, yes. But anyway, MJF came out, talked some shit, like MJF does.
He sure does.
And it was an open challenge, but he worded it as a gauntlet, but there was only one match. So I'm happy when I tweeted this out, I used the word open challenge. So if someone came next, I'd be like, well, here's this other match, but nope, it was just one. So basically did the regular thing of, like, nobody in the back's man enough to fight me or have me in a match. Like, let's bring somebody out. I challenge anybody. And out comes Hornswoggle.
Yeah.
The legit last minute replacement for Tracy Smothers. I think that's pretty good. I was hoping actually it would have been Marion Fontaine, because I'm like, Fontaine versus MJF could be really, really good.
Yeah. I saw Marion Fontaine have what is still one of my favorite matches of the year this year. So yeah, I mean, Fontaine would have been good. I'm glad they got Swoggle. I thought the match was great. I thought everything leading up to the match was great.
Yes.
He got a whole room full of people to call MJF the cunt over and over again. That doesn't get old to me.
I think it's funny that, like, even he mentioned it, like, you know, we have problems with these fans who say these things, and then he goes, all right, now, like, let's chant, he's a cunt. He's a cunt.
I mean, and we got lucky. We got to see MJF right before he broke himself.
Yeah, out for 4 to 6 weeks. He did say.
All injured, man.
That's crazy. I didn't hear about it until you tweeted about it, and I thought I'm like, oh my God.
A lot of fucking people.
Can we bubble wrap Ethan Page?
Yeah.
Make sure he's
okay.
okay.
Something very similar about fucking Matt Cross.
He's getting old enough. He might need to be bubble wrapped, but Ethan Page too. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's a lot of people. It's like probably a fifth of the people who worked that show are injured.
Like, is that a coincidence? Or is at any moment, like, that many people could have the potential of being injured? And obviously, if they work that show, they're working a lot of dates. You know what I mean?
Right. It's wrestling. People get hurt. Anytime there's shit like that where it's like, oh, it's a curse. Like, it's a funny joke to me. They're like, oh, it's like Final Destination, only it's with injuries. But it's fucking coincidence, man. I mean, all those people working a lot more, like Marco Stunt. So he's working a lot of shows that are televised in one way or another. He's trying to get his name out there. He's trying to impress people. He gets hurt. MJF has what looks to be a very full schedule all the time.
Good God,
he got hurt. Cody Rhodes, and some of these people have a lot of miles on their bump card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, people are going to get hurt. It sucks though. It sucks that it's taken out so many big names on the indies. You know, both Joeys. It's fucking crazy.
Like, I obviously don't mean this in a bad way, but we're going to kind of benefit from Marco Stunt. He's going to be on the podcast later. This will come out. Yeah, it'll be technically next month, but yeah, like, granted, I've had this plan literally. I don't think I've talked about this the day he did the GCW stuff, the Lost in New York.
Yeah.
I DM'd him a couple hours later but I had been like thinking of this in my mind, and I'm like, fuck, I better strike while the iron's hot. Hey, I want to do this, but it's in December. How do you feel? And he agreed to do it. And then like I was like DMing him right around leading into that day, and we were like ironing out stuff. So it was like, okay, like we'll have like this to talk about, blah, 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 work on this time. Like now his schedule's open.
Right.
So we'll be able to fit him in, but which I'm going to talk about with him fucks me, because I think 2 of the opportunities I was going to have to meet him, I think are both thrown out the window again, unless he happens to show up at Southern Underground Pro when I go. Other than that, I'm fucked.
Oh, you're not going to Mania.
Nope.
Yeah.
He might not be ready by Mania. It's like a 6-month injury.
Yeah. I mean, he might not be able to wrestle. I think it would be.
Yeah, he'll probably be there for signings.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know fucking nothing about that. You can ask him about that when you talk to him.
No, yeah, the world, I think his is going to be a really easy interview, because there's going to be just stuff like, hey, let's talk about this shit. And then we'll get into other crazy topics too, but it's just like, hey, it's here, let's talk about it. Anyway, yes, we had MJF versus Hornswoggle, and Hornswoggle body slammed Dave Dawson, and he gets DQ'd, so MJF is your winner. And I mean, there was a lot going on. That's one thing I hate about when I'm live tweeting, is like, okay, how am I going to fit everything that's said onto Twitter as fast as I can? So I kind of threw out there was like a bet that Hornswoggle couldn't body slam MJF.
Right.
So it ended with Hornswoggle being blinded, trying to body slam somebody, and turns out to be it was Potato, body slams him. The next thing he when he can finally see, he goes, oh shit. And then, was there a low blow by MJF?
I don't remember.
I think there was. Yeah, it was a low blow by MJF. MJF thought he was disqualified, but it turns out no, Hornswoggle was disqualified.
You know what? You're right. Yeah, that was the finish. Man, it was a bad night to be Dave the Potato.
That's always a bad night to be Dave the Potato.
He had real heat, though. That crowd, the next time he came out, he got booed hard.
The guy next to me was saying that he thought that Potato was going to have a heel turn because he keeps like screwing up matches. And only thing that I'll say, because I don't remember if I said, I'm like, he's already turned heel. We've already done Dave the Potato is in the pocket of somebody. There was a faction called Flexor Industries headed by Chess Flexor, and it was basically like $1 million corporation idea. And he was the referee in their pocket. And then that eventually, through time, went out the window. Potato stopped reffing in AEW for a while, and then eventually he came back, and everything was kind of started over with him. So yeah, right. We've been there. It's been done. I don't think we're going back to that well.
I don't know. I mean, technically, he hasn't, like, every time that he's done something that have made people mad, and it's been like, oh, he's a heel, he's actually just been, like, calling shit, right? You know what I mean? Like, within the context of what should be allowed in a match, like, if you body slam the referee, you're disqualified.
How about Hornswoggle telling Potato not to count him out like Colt Cabana?
That was good. Dude, and props to Hornswoggle on that fucking suplex. It looks good every time.
Yeah.
That suplex looks good every time. The match was good. It was the best you could have hoped to have I had high hopes for Tracy Smothers and MJF just for shit talking between the two of them.
Oh God, yes.
Swoggle, I think, probably did as good or better than Tracy would have in the match itself. And the mic stuff was every bit as good as Tracy, too. It was one of my favorite matches of the night. It was good. I liked it.
And I think I threw it out on my personal Twitter asking Kurt Hawkins who he's rooting for in this match, because Kurt Hawkins was one of the trainers for MJF, and he's like best friends with Swoggle. So I'm like, hey, like, who are you rooting for in this match?
It was good.
Yeah. I don't think it was very long, but it was still, for what it was great. MJF is a dude who, he has entertained me every time I've seen him, and he just keeps getting better and better in AEW. Is it like in-ring wise? No, he just finds ways to entertain. And even with this one, with everything going on with Pedro, like he was like kissing him afterwards, like because he was so happy that he didn't lose the Hornswoggle.
Yeah, and didn't have to pay him money.
Oh, that was another great back and forth of talking about, obviously MJF is that rich character, but you have Hornswoggle who's been in actual movies, or are they high-grossing movies? Not necessarily, but Muppets, yes. Leprechaun, no. But he got to throw out a couple jabs, because I think it was like MJF's like, oh, let's do it for $5,000. Like, is that enough for you? And it's like, he's like, well, it's not even like my Muppet money.
Yeah.
That was great.
It was good. I liked it.
Next match, we see another... No, this was announced, but there was change. We had, instead of Ethan Page, it was Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham versus KTB versus Dominic Garrini versus Joshua Bishop. And I honestly don't think Ethan Page... I don't know what happened, but I don't think he was showing up. I think, like, I don't know whether he planned his vacation and took the booking, or he took the booking and then planned his vacation and then... had to, like, I don't necessarily cancel, but it's just like, hey, can we not do it? But they already made the graphic or something, because I think he posted, like, the next day he was still on vacation, and there was no apology. He was like, yep, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't know what went on with that. It would have been nice to see Ego, but Dan was fine.
Yeah.
Everybody got to throw toilet paper at Dan in there one more time.
I want to post a video of it. We got a really there was nice amount of toilet paper thrown at him. I made sure I passed out. I forget how many fucking rolls of it before. Like, I was trying to even get to you, and then there was like people like, give me, and I'm like, all right, guess we're out. But
dude, giving toilet paper to people up in the bleachers is always a fruitless fucking endeavor. Like, every time it's happened, like with the exception of, surprisingly, I've seen Pam get it to the ring from the bleachers.
I knew it was going to be Pam.
Yeah, but I've seen people just hit people in, like, the seats in front of us. Like, it never makes it to Dan.
You need, like, the kid quarterback from Little Giants who threw that toilet paper in the middle of the shopping aisle.
Yeah, that's another movie I've never seen.
Oh, God damn it. So, Lion King. Let's talk about Lion King.
This podcast is not about Lion King.
You've never seen Lion King. Anyway. It makes sense of your age, because I think I was like 10 when it came out, so I was in the demographic that needed to see it. You were what, a teenager?
I don't know what year that movie come out.
Maybe in 96, might have been 94. So I was 8.
Came out in 94?
I think. Don't quote me.
Yeah, I was like smoking weed and playing heavy metal.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, if it was 94, I was like 15 years old.
But then again, as an adult, I do watch Pixar movies, so I don't know where the balance is.
Yeah, I love Pixar movies, but teenage me wasn't watching Disney films. Like, that wasn't, unless it was like fucking Sword in the Stone and shit, Black Cauldron. I gotta watch that shit. But
for football movies, Little Giants is good. Rick Moranis, Ed O'Neill.
Yeah, I don't know why I've never seen it, because I fucking love Ed O'Neill.
And I love Rick Moranis. Like, especially, he was at that time period where I can't say he couldn't do no harm, but like, he was almost killing it. It was definitely in the middle of the Honey, I Shrunk movies, or Honey, I Blew Up movies, whatever it was.
Yeah, you said he could do no wrong, but I feel like every Honey, I movie after the first one was as wrong as things could get.
I don't know. I'd have to revisit Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Because as a kid, I thought that was cool. And then I remember seeing Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, which I thought was okay. But I think there was more, so I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, I remember not liking those movies.
Little Giants is fucking great. Literally, I think it's one of my top 5, if not favorite, football movies. People
constantly reference Sandlot with it. And, like, Sandlot to me is, I don't see how that movie can be on the same level as Sandlot. And me have not seen it.
I'm not huge on Sandlot.
What?
I've seen it, but like I was never obsessed with it. Like, I've seen it a couple of times as a kid, but like that was that. The only things I really remember of it is Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, I loved Babe Ruth.
Killing me small.
Yeah, it's fucking anyway. So Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham, KTB, Dominic Garrini, and Joshua Bishop, Fatal 4-Way. And basically this match was, besides, a lot of people going back and forth of who was in the ring, but you had a war starting to build. I really enjoyed it, of Dominic Garrini and Joshua Bishop. I should say continuing to build.
Yeah.
So I think at one point it was one of those times where they keep fighting each other and like they go in like the back, like if they just disappear because they keep fighting. So you were left with KTB and Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham, and KTB pinned Dr. Dan for the win. And KTB is fucking getting over more and more every AIW show.
Sure is.
And I really do love it.
The first time I saw that dude was at Joey Janela's Spring Break.
Okay.
And I've dug that dude since then. Like, I was like, there's a dude who came out here that just got Kyle written on his gear. I'm okay with this guy. He's definitely evolved the character since then, but I like him. He's good. He's like a big hoss dude that can move. I dig it.
Next up was tag team match. Chase Oliver and Trey Lamar versus Magnum CK and Frankie Flynn for the AIW Tag Team Championships. And there was a lot going on in this small amount of time, and I was recording videos, tweeting out shit, and just such a cluster. But basically, Magnum and Frankie picked up the win really quick. I think it was Magnum who pinned Chase.
Yeah, it happened quick.
Yeah.
It happened really, really quick. And I was actually kind of surprised that the match was as early as it was. Like, it didn't feel to me like intermission was coming yet, but like, I understand now why it was, because of how long like the entire process of this went.
Yeah. Which of
course they knew going in. But yeah, it was kind of like a surprise that like everybody expected, I think when the match, when it was announced that, it was Magnum's last match, that either it was going to be the production went over and it would be like Freebird thing.
Yeah. Or
Trey and Chase are your new champs. And I assumed it was going to be like a normal, give them some time to do a match. And it was quick. I would say that match was 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes.
So
I think Magnum's entrance was longer than the match.
Oh my God. That's another part that I totally forgot. The crowd is just going nuts for Magnum with, Magnum CK, clap, 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 Magnum CK. He does his normal slow coming out, just looks at the crowd, gets to right by the ring where he can go off and do his normal thing where he puts his arms out and, takes his time, does it. And out of a weird sign of respect, like, for me, I've always had my joke as I kneel when he comes out.
Yeah.
Because he's like royalty. But fuck it, this was the last time. And everybody in the front row who wore a hat, like, stood up so he could throw it. And he threw everybody's hat.
There were people who weren't in the front row who, like, pushed in to get their hats thrown.
Ed Battis, his hat was thrown. Gary's from Smart Mark, his hat was thrown. It was nuts, and it's something that I almost forgot about. But yeah, that's even another additional thing to this particular moment. So that's how it started off. We have the 5-minute match. Magnum pins Chase, and then he basically says that he's not retiring. He got all our money. And the joke was in, like, he's gonna pull LeBron. He grabs Frankie's title and he says, "I'm leaving here with championships." Gets about halfway down the ramp and I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? And then the Weird World's music hits.
Cashing in, baby. And
in hand, they have their Chandler Biggins Memorial Tag Team Tournament trophies. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot all about this. This doesn't really happen with many cash-ins where you forget that they have that opportunity.
Yeah.
So they come out like, nope, you're not going anywhere. Because he says, like, as long as he's an AIW Tag Team Champion, he's not retiring. And even then, I'm like, okay, then what's going to happen?
Right.
So, like I said, totally forgetting about it. Weird World comes out. They want to cash in, and it's happening now. And I want to say it was maybe a little bit longer than the first match, but short. Still short.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Weird World are tag champs.
Yep. It was Weird Body and Alex Kalar pinning Magnum to become the new AIW Tag Team Champions. And something I want to address before we get into it any farther, I heard fans at the show saying that they thought Magnum did the job, or maybe they were saying that they thought No Consequences should have won the titles, or whatever. And the one thing that I said, Magnum is old school, and he was going to want to go out on his back. And the one thing that makes the most sense is the Weird World becoming tag team champions. I get it that, okay, he's announcing his retirement. This is going to be the match, so he should put over No Consequences. And I like No Consequences, but are we going to be really honest and think that they're ready to be tag team champions? I mean, granted, I'm just a fan, but I don't know if you would have the crowd behind them. The Weird World has been doing this longer, and it made sense for them to win, and it created a moment because these guys, like I said, these guys have been doing it for years, and this was a perfect moment to end the Our Lady of Mount Carmel years, and with everything that has gone on between the Weird World and the production, like, this makes sense. And the thing that I love is in the wings, we still have PME, and I'm thinking we're getting PME versus the Weird World for the titles, maybe Absolution, maybe a different time, but we are going to see these two teams butt heads, and I'm looking forward to it. That's what's awesome.
Man, and people can like who they like. I like Trey and Chase fine. I like the Weird World fine. I'm happy that, in 2018, the Weird World are tag champions somewhere. That's a championship tag team. I fucking love it. I love everything about it. I don't know that there's any better tag team. Like, if you asked me to, like, oh, hey, man, what's AIW about? One of the things I would show people is the Weird World.
Yeah.
Because I think it really is a good, there's a part of AIW that it really is that. I don't know. I fucking love it. I love that they're champs. I thought the whole thing was done really well. I thought it told a really good story. And I think it sets up a lot of interesting shit going forward.
Yeah. They were the team that it makes sense to be on top after the production, the thing that I kind of question. And I really hope AIW answers this on their podcast of, okay, what was the plan for the tag titles before Magnum's retirement? Like, I mean, granted, even this show, it was supposed to be David Arquette and RJ City versus the production. And
right. So obviously it wasn't going to be dropping the titles to Arquette.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think.
Good God, that'd be fun though.
I mean, that would have been fucking insane.
Yeah,
that would have been great. But I mean, that's still. I mean, I think Weird World versus Arquette and RJ City at some time is a fucking great match.
Oh God, yes. But you have. I was gonna say you had that match get thrown out. So then you have it be No Consequences, and then you have Magnum have to announce his retirement the week of. And I was like, well, good thing like that first match didn't happen, so it made people really, really think. On the other hand, though, if he would have had his retirement against RJ City and David Arquette, that would have been the belief, like, oh my God, that they're going to win the titles.
Right.
Holy shit. And
then you could have still swerved with, but I mean, again, if Magnum's not retiring, I don't know that they're dropping those belts. The only person who knows that for sure is Thorne. I mean, he knows what his plan was. Hopefully he will address it at some point. It's a question for people. The next time he asks for fucking questions for podcasts, somebody throw that out there.
I knew I threw out the Joey Janela question. I'm like, what was the plan for him and like what will be done? And I do know that he did answer that he's still going to have a title shot when he comes back. So I'm like, that's
I was going to say he's still owed a title shot at some point. He won a tournament.
Good God. I think technically from 2013, I want to say, don't quote me on the year. Michael Elgin still owed still owed a J-Lit championship match because he's the only person to go in as the champion and win.
Oh,
like he actually said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna get in the tournament as the champion," and he won. So he technically had a title shot. And then later that year, the whole border thing happened, and yeah, now everything else has happened with him, and he's not necessarily booked in the same places.
Yeah.
Still booked, but not the same places.
Yeah, I got no opinions on that whole thing.
Yeah.
I was never a Mike Elgin guy to begin with. But
I always said I liked Elgin, but he seemed, and I understood if people said it, like he came off as an asshole. but I don't think he necessarily was to everybody. Now, the shit that went down, like, I kind of have no opinion on it because I wasn't around for that shit.
Yeah, I don't know nothing. It doesn't affect me. I'm not worried about it.
So, yeah, the Weird World, new tag team champions, and I'm excited for it.
Which is fucking great. And then Magnum gave his farewell speech.
I think I had it clocked in about 18 minutes. I did record it all. Unfortunately, though, I don't know how AIW feels about it, because I actually recorded majority, not all, of Gargano's. And I had posted a screenshot online of me just trying to get it uploaded to one of my cloud drives. And it's like a huge file. And I think when he's seen the screenshot, Biggins messaged me. He was like, are you planning on, is that going on YouTube? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I explained it to him. He's like, oh, okay. Please don't post it because that's going to be a big selling point for the DVD. And granted, I don't think the Magnum's thing is going to be a big selling point for the DVD, but I will openly say this. I'm not putting it out. Even if AIW said I have the opportunity, I have their permission. I actually did forward it to Magnum, and he informed me that they are using fan footage for the documentary. So there's a possibility you will see it on Marking Out too.
Yeah, I saw you had posted that if anybody had footage to send it, because they were going to mix some of it in. I missed that. I thought it was a really good speech, man.
Yeah, it was good.
I saw somebody, and I don't remember specifically who it was, say that they thought it was longer than Johnny's speech.
No.
Fuck no.
No.
Johnny's speech went on for fucking ever.
Johnny's speech went on for, I think, close to an hour. I think it went on like 50 to 55 minutes. Magnum's was like, I think I got about 18, and I went from beginning to end.
Yeah, the speech, not the song, right? Or is that with the song too?
No, that's what the song. I did from beginning to him walking through the curtain, or at least getting close to walking through the curtain. So yeah,
it was good, man. I really like the somebody's got to be a wrestler. Why not you?
Or somebody's got to be anything. Why not you?
Yeah,
might be the name of this episode. We'll see.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was great. It was a good send off. I'm sad to see that dude no longer wrestling, but you got to take care of yourself.
Definitely.
And it's fucking crazy that he has spina bifida.
Mm-hmm.
And that it wasn't diagnosed until he's however the fuck old Magnum is right now. Pretty nuts.
Yeah.
But he just announced that he has another acting role that he's doing soon. So it's not like the guy won't be busy.
I'm actually hoping at some point I want to see him on stage or like go to one of his school functions that he's directing, just to kind of like show support, like, loved you in wrestling and I love you as a person too, so here's me coming to this show, whatever it is. Right.
Yeah, he's every interaction I've ever had with that dude, he's been nothing but the fucking best. And I hope everything goes as good as it possibly can for that guy going forward. And hopefully he's not a stranger around AIW. I would like to see him still come around and maybe have a place there in a different capacity if that's something that he wants and that they want him there for.
Commentary manager,
fucking
anything.
Yeah, anything, man. I mean, just the amount of difference between the promos that guy cuts, the promo videos that he would put out for every match, compared to almost everybody else on the indies that does that same shit. He was like head and shoulders better than people at that. And it's a fucking shame that, life can be, just because you're a good guy doesn't mean good shit happens to you. Life does that to people. But he seems to be in pretty good fucking spirits about the whole thing. And,
And then before we went into intermission, we received the announcement that I figured was going to happen at this show. We have an official location, which most people probably know by now, but the official location for the December 28th show, which is Welcome to the Party, Pal, and it's featuring Masato Tanaka.
Fuck yeah, it is. Masato Tanaka is going to be fucking crazy.
And that's going to be at Ohio Nets in Parma, which I think for me, it's like a 5-minute difference, like 5 minutes according to my phone, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 10 minutes closer from me, too. Although, no more Mount Carmel, I think probably means no more Funhouse.
I would say so because I looked. I roughly know the area, but not too far away is Nax.
Yeah.
So I'd be willing to put money down that the next AIW after party is going to be at Nax. And I was actually a huge fan of Nax.
I like Nax. Nax is fine. The only problem I've ever had at Nax is getting served.
Yeah. Just figured the first time we were there was shitty. I want to say that was that Double Dare or J-Lit?
The first time I was there was J-Lit, night one after party 2 years ago.
Okay, we were there before that, and that's not as bad, I think. Or maybe...
That night was fucking impossible to get served. Like, I remember, like, Swoggle had, like, a seat at the corner of the bar, and Pam and I were standing there with him, and it was, like, both of us trying to fucking flag people down to come get drinks, and then once you got somebody, like, people crowded in around, like, oh, hey, can I get a drink too? Can I get a drink too? Like, they were so understaffed that night. Last year was a little bit better. This year was a little bit better. It was a little easier to get a drink. Still waited at times, but no worse than waiting at, like, Funhouse sometimes when it's busy. So
I'm trying to remember. Was J-Lit the first time or no? I'm thinking. Yeah, I think you're right. Was that the year that Damo was there?
Huh?
Was that the year Big Damo?
No, that was the year before.
Okay, then that was okay. Then you weren't there for the time that the very first time we were there. They were not expecting the crowd, so they had like 2 people working.
Oh man, the time I was there, I think they only had 2 fucking people working that first time, and that would have been a whole year later.
Yeah, maybe it got a little bit better. I remember Biggins, like, he was pissed. Like, he's like, I just want whatever he wanted. It was something small, and he's like, what the fuck? Like, me and him were both waiting. Like, we wanted just something small, and then I went there like the last time we were there, and it wasn't that bad.
Well, I think the other thing this year too, I don't know if people were getting served any faster, but I was certainly ordering like 3 drinks at a time when I ordered.
Yeah.
Like for myself.
Yeah.
Because I knew from the year before, like, nah, fuck that. I'm going to make sure I've got the drinks I'm going to need for the next hour. Because I don't know when I'm going to get served again. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Nax is fine. I like Nax.
Yeah.
They got good food at Nax.
Mm-hmm. I think the only thing I've really had there was their chicken tenders, and they weren't bad.
Yeah. I don't remember specifically what I've had there, but I remember not thinking it was bad.
Yeah. All right, and with intermission, that means we'll be going to this commercial break, so we'll be right back.
What's up, everybody? This is Alex Worldwide Keller coming to you live here for Thrift Store. Wait, it's not Thrift Store Driver? Wait a minute. Wrestling who? Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name. I know my name. It's Alex Worldwide Keller, and you're listening to Wrestling Cheers. And I want to tell you all about Wrestling Cheers t-shirts at whatamaneuver.net. It's a heck of a shirt because where everybody knows your name, and wrestling is a game, and the game is pain. And pain is what we feel, and what we feel, it's real. Whatamaneuver.net, Wrestling Cheers, do it up for your boy, Alex Worldwide Killer.
All right, and we're back. And the first match we had coming back from intermission was none other than To Infinity and Beyond versus PME, Philly Marino Experience. This was a decent match to come back to. Just how well To Infinity and Beyond has become heels like over the past couple of years. Just going to be everybody loves them to just go away. And then not necessarily they had just go away heat, but we were getting tired of them as champions. And so I always felt like sometimes that's what you need as a champion, someone who is just, you want them to lose. You're paying to see them lose. And
yeah.
They come out now like it's just the same. Nothing has changed.
People fucking hate them.
But that's what I really like about them. Because I was gone back watching old AIW lately when they were, faces, and I'm like, oh god, it doesn't feel like they've been around that long, because we know a lot of Colin from, the ECW days, and lately some of the stuff he's done with 205 Live and Ring of Honor, but this has gone on for a long time, and this is like one of the very few promotions that has To Infinity and Beyond.
Dude, it's so ingrained for me to boo Colin Delaney from To Infinity and Beyond. that, like, I was at a Ring of Honor show in Pittsburgh earlier this year, I think.
Yeah.
It was either earlier this year or like towards the end of last year. And he worked that show, and I had to remember that oh no, I'm not going to boo this dude. Like, because he's certainly not supposed to be hated there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, him and Cheech are really good at being hated, and PME is really good at getting everybody to love him. Like, this was a great, like, classic babyface versus heels match.
Yep.
With two, what I think are really good tag team matches, or two really good tag teams that handle their matches as a team. Not as dudes just put together, but there's, like, real, like, tag team, like, tandem moves and psychology and stuff. It's good. I thought it was a really good match.
That was an excellent match. And I was kind of surprised by the ending. Cheech pinned Marino for the win.
Yeah. I would like to see that be a thing for a little bit. Is To Infinity and Beyond and PME maybe having a little series.
Yeah.
Because that match was good. I would not be disappointed in seeing that rehashed over and over again.
How long before in To Infinity and Beyond gets another tag team title shot?
Oh, fuck. I mean, probably soon enough. If you look at who the options are to have somebody as like a heel tag team, I mean, there's the production. There's To Infinity and Beyond. Who's the other heel tag team?
God, that's a good point. There's people are probably going to tweet us what they think, but
Twan and
yeah. Oh,
Duke
Jock
Money.
and Man, just Duke Money as a whole. That's two tag teams.
I mean, that's who I would like to see Weird World against first before it ever got to like some To Infinity and Beyond stuff.
Yeah,
Jock and Mance.
There's a lot of natural storytelling you can tell with To Infinity and Beyond, but Weird World and Duke Money.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what was told at the Chandler Biggins Memorial Tag Team Tournament. You definitely have a tag team that could be considered a little bit of left-wing liberal, and then you have the right-wing conservatives of Duke Money. And there's just, to me, there's comedy in that. And I love when Jock pulls that shit out.
I don't know if guns and jet skis for everybody is real conservative, or real liberal, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just think there's a lot of, like, those two teams and Duke being involved in it lends itself to just, like, a good natural story between Weird World and them. And again, I think PME and To Infinity and Beyond is a match I would be happy to watch over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are two good places for both of those teams to be.
Yeah. And people say, like, tag team wrestling is dying, and I feel like in AIW it's good.
Well, I feel like tag team wrestling on television is kind of shitty. Like, there's a handful of good teams in the E, but, like, they have a real problem with just tossing two people they don't have any good ideas for together and throwing them out there as a tag team. And what I love on the indies is there's not a lot of that. Like, a lot of the teams that work the indies are a tag team, and they travel together and book together, and they're that team in multiple places. I think tag team wrestling on the indies is in a great place. I could probably name 10 teams off the top of my head that I think are great.
I can name about 10 teams I want to see in AIW that we don't see often or haven't seen at all, but I'm not getting into that list right now.
Yeah. I want to see I haven't seen Kevin Koo and Dom together in person.
Yeah.
And you probably won't in AIW because Dom's got other shit in AIW, but, like, that's a great tag team, and those guys seem to be taking that as not just, like, two guys thrown together, but, like, making a thing of it. Like,
yeah. Sad Comf.
Yeah.
Got to see them win the PWF tag team titles.
Nice.
Pretty. I love them together. God, we're just going down the list. Yeah, Kevin Koo, also sup month on Wrestling Cheers. Anyway, moving on.
But yeah, I think on the Indies tag team wrestling is doing fucking great.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna need some help on this one. There's a name. I'm terrible with Spanish, so if I fuck it up, I fuck it up. Anyway, next up we had a six-man scramble match. Laredo Kid, Gringo Loco, Facade, Lewis Linden, Flip Kendrick, and El Hijo de LA Park.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm correct, means the son of LA Park. Actually, It says translate tweet. I wonder if it'll translate that perfectly for me. Survey says could not translate tweet.
Yeah, there's a lot of those El Hijo de in Lucha, the son of
Havoc.
Yeah. Nice.
This was a fucking crazy match. And I'm going to just fast forward to the end. God, it was so crazy. I didn't even get who Louis Linden pinned, but he got the pinfall. But after the match, fans started throwing money into the ring. I'm one of them, mainly because I did have an extra $1, like just single in my wallet. And I'm like, all right, fuck it. I think it was a good match. Everybody throwing in $1? Well, fuck it, I'll throw in $1.
Yeah, that's a thing that has not happened before that I'm aware of at AIW, but I think it's pretty common at Lucha shows.
Was it Lucha or Japan? Like, I thought it was Japanese shows. Like, I could be wrong. I mean, fuck, I've never been to a show in Japan. I've never been to a show in Mexico, but I always thought tipping was Japanese. Like, it was the polite thing to do.
I mean, I'm not 100% certain either. The times I've seen it, I feel like it's always been like a Lucha show, but I could be wrong. But yeah, that's certainly a thing that happened. There were people up at the bleachers that like, I forget who came out first, but whoever the first, I think Laredo was the first person out. And there was a dude losing his mind going, flippy shit. It's flippy shit match.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's flippy shit match, but there was a lot of really good stuff in that match. Tons of really good work in that match.
Yeah.
I'd fucking, that is on my list of best matches of the night. I fucking really enjoyed that match.
Yeah.
Pam was so fucking bummed because she loves Gringo's fucking entrance music.
Oh, yeah, they changed it.
Yeah, he used that new music that he's been using other places. She was bummed. She was so hyped for him to come out, and then that music hit, and she was like stone-faced mad.
That's the thing that sucks. There's so many wrestlers in AIW that like change their theme, and like you're just like, wait, who the fuck's? Wait a minute, when did Eddie Kingston changed his fucking theme? On the side note, my favorite Eddie Kingston theme was Wu-Tang Clan, Cream. That was a good one.
Yeah. Josh just changed his. His have been Black Betty forever, and now it's Sabotage.
Yeah. And Dom's changed his a handful of times.
Yeah.
M-Dog, I know, has changed maybe a couple, but I think he stuck to his most recent one, like maybe over a year or two, but he's jumped around.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a fun match. I don't really have any words to describe it. I know we did
watch it.
Yeah.
To me, that match is worth buying this show. Like there was tons of good spots in the match. It was fun. If you like lucha stuff, it's very much worth watching.
All right. Next up, we had Nick Gage versus L.A. Park. Now, before we get into this match, I want to bring up something on this podcast that I've talked about privately in some chats. I'm not going to call the person out, but there is a AIW fan out there who has told me that they do not like Nick Gage because he is an unsafe worker.
Nah, get the fuck out of here with that.
I want to hear other fans' thoughts on that. And when I asked him, I was trying to keep the sex out of it, say they, but fuck, I fucked it up. I mean, let's just face it, there's more male fans than female fans. So him, when I asked him, has any talent ever told him this? Thinking like, okay, he's unsafe because this person said so. Okay, whatever. So I was like, has the talent told you this? And he goes, no, but I have been told that they're scared of him. So make that of what you will. I just want to get other people's opinion on it. And if this person wishes to out themselves, obviously they have all the rights in the world. I'm not going to do it. So
I feel like it's real easy, right? To be Johnny Hot Take after that Arquette match and be like, oh, Nick Gage is an unsafe worker. Get the fuck out of here with that noise. Like, look, I'm not trained. I don't know what's safe and not safe in ring. What I do know is Nick Gage gets booked a whole fucking lot in a whole lot of different places, including places like fucking Chikara. Do you think Quackenbush is booking Nick Gage if he can't fucking work? Get the fuck out of here with that. No, I don't buy it for a second. I have never heard anybody say anything about the dude that was, to insinuate in any way that he's unsafe. There is like it's wrestling, man. Did the dude ever think that like the guy who we heard say like, "Oh, I'm afraid of Nick Gage," might have been trying to help sell the gimmick, murder, death, kill? Dude robbed a bank. Maybe he is afraid of the fact that the dude robbed a bank. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Whatever. People need to just enjoy fucking wrestling and stop with all the fucking hot takes and bullshit. Like, just enjoy wrestling. Wrestling's fun.
I think my big thing with wrestling is, and then I should say fans, is when it's like, well, I don't like these wrestlers for this reason, and I will like always like downgrade them. Which I'm granted, I have my handful of wrestlers that I don't like, but they're in WWE.
I have like 3 people, and none of them are at AIW, and I don't like them because of disrespect. It has nothing to do with in-ring shit.
Oh yeah, same
thing. It totally has to do with them disrespecting either someone I like, something I like, or somewhere I like. And that has nothing to do with fucking wrestling. It has to do with their character as fucking people.
I bet you I can name one of them.
I bet you can name 2 of them.
I can only think of one right now. Anyway, that's my thing too. Like, I don't hate anybody in AIW of all places too. I've had problems with Dons. I've had problems with Carson. Those are in the past. And ever since then, like, there's literally nobody that I'm like, I hate this person. There might be like wrestlers and characters I don't get. Like, all right, people like this wrestler. All right, cool. Like, I don't get it. I'm not a fan, but I don't hate the person. It's just like, I'm just not buying it. Like that's the farthest I go with a lot of wrestlers anymore.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, everybody's real quick to pick everything apart nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Like, fucking wrestling Twitter, man. And then it spills over. Like, I've noticed that, like, people's wrestling hot takes, like you said, you had this conversation at the fucking show. Like, the wrestling Twitter virus has found its way into actual people's conversations at shows. Man, fuck off with all that shit.
Yeah.
Like, just enjoy wrestling. If you like wrestling, just fucking enjoy it. Go like what you like, hate who you want to, boo who you want to boo.
Yeah.
Just don't be dumb and don't, like, I don't know. What does it matter if that dude thinks Nick Gage is unsafe? Clearly the people who are in a position to make those decisions don't feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm not belittling you bringing it up. Just that opinion is just silly to me.
It's just more or less, I wanted to get other people's opinion on it, because it's more or less, when the conversation is just me and him, it's like, okay, I'm not crazy for thinking he's not a unsafe worker, or however proper English states that sentence. But like, I'm not weird, am I? But everybody's like, when I brought it up in the chat, like, everyone's like, yeah, like, agreeing with me, like, he's fine. I think he's a good dude. Like,
here's what I'll say. He offered to sing NSYNC karaoke with my girlfriend.
Yeah, so
that sounds fucking terrifying to me.
God, I want to hear.
Sounds like he's so fucking scary.
I want to hear him
not to kill his gimmick.
I want to hear him do NSYNC karaoke. What song? What song was it?
I don't know. You have to ask her. I was busy sitting at a different table drinking.
I'm just imagining him like singing like "Bye Bye Bye," or
I think that probably might have been what it was.
God, it'd been great.
Ask Pam the next time you see her; she'll tell you.
So yes, back to the match as we sidetracked horribly. Yeah. Nick Gage versus LA Park, and the thing that stuck out to this match was the shit talk. And I wanted him on the show this week, but he was unfortunately too busy. Is Patrick? Like, Patrick was 100% MDK for this match, yelling at LA Park, and LA Park was killing shit back, and it was fucking great.
It was fucking the best, man. LA Park, Laparca fucking killed it. Everything that I wanted that match to be, this match came out to the fucking WCW music, did all of his fucking little fucking play guitar on the chair, the little dance. It was fucking great. Everything that I love about Laparca worked into this match, and then lost his shit on fucking Pat. He threw the fucking ring bell. This is great. That's fucking great. I loved everything about this match.
Yeah, there was that. fucking L.A. Park threw a bell at Thrift Store Jobber, and I think he threw a chair, if I got it correct, at Thrift Store Jobber.
Yeah, I know he threw the fucking ring bell.
Yeah, that was like right in front of us. And like our thing was like, even at the beginning of the show, there wasn't a bell. Like, I don't know what happened. And then I noticed at some point, like, oh, there's the bell. But there officially was no bell at the beginning. So then this motherfucker just like chucks it.
No bell at the end.
Yeah. I don't know if you were around for it. It was some jail that I can't remember, but someone threw the ring bell and broke it. That might have been, pardon me, let's say 2015. And they actually had to get a ring bell from Caden the next day. Like, he happened to have one.
So 2015, I was only there the second day?
So that's if it was that year, yeah, then you were there with the new bell, but...
Yeah.
Or maybe was it Double Dare and the hooligans threw it. Somebody threw it. And they fucking broke it. I'm going to have to ask Caden if he remembers, but it was a 2-day tournament and broke it day 1 and they had to use Caden's day 2.
Man, and Laparca, for his age, I mean, that dude's got to be, I would assume 50 at least. He fucking can still move.
Yeah.
And he was always like a bigger dude. He's bigger yet now, but it was great, man. I thought that match was fucking great. Gage took that dive to the outside on him. It was great. I'm so happy. That was my Christmas present to myself. Was I got to see Laparca. It was great.
Did you buy the mask?
I did not buy a mask. He actually, by the time I went over there, put all that shit away.
Oh.
But masks are usually a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
And I wasn't spending mask money. I got a picture with him. That would be my fucking Christmas card if I was having them this year. Like a Feliz Navidad for me and Laparca.
Yeah, and
like that was like a bucket list for me, man. Like,
yeah.
Laparca's legit one of my favorite wrestlers. It's like my boogeyman for young Ed.
I was gonna say, wasn't he number 1 for you?
I mean, number 1's always Mick Foley, but he's way up there. Mick Foley will always be number 1.
You didn't go to, I think we've talked about this, I can't remember why, the Night Under the Stars that Foley was there?
Nah, I met Foley before.
Oh, okay.
I saw Foley do stand up in like a tiny basement in Youngstown like 5-6 years ago.
Great. He's definitely one of the like best dudes to meet. Like when I met him, I actually thanked him for like what he did for Daunced, because I thought that was just way cool. This is the dude that doesn't have to do anything anymore. Like, he could just coast off of his success, but he always seems to be so grateful for all of it. And that's one thing I've always loved about him. He's not my favorite. I don't even know if he's going to be in my top 10, but I think if I were to rate like what they are as people, God, he's up there. Oh yeah.
Mick Foley is a fantastic human being, in addition to being my favorite wrestler ever.
Side note, which I don't know if we talked about this or not, but I finally bought Beyond the Mat digital copy.
You've seen it before, right?
Yeah. Oh, I have it on VHS. Yeah. I have 2 copies technically on VHS.
Yeah.
But I don't have a VCR.
I asked that because the other night when we were watching the GCW show from LA, we found out that young Ed had never seen Stranglemania.
That's JCW, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that kind of makes sense. Granted, crazy enough, I'm an ICP fan. I've never seen Stranglemania.
Oh, what the fuck, Summers?
Yeah.
Oh my God, just watch. I think it's probably on fucking YouTube.
I've seen Big Money Hustlers.
Yeah, no, you need to just watch Strangle Me.
I tried out for Big Money Rustlers at the Gathering one year, but anyway. But no, what I was going to
for another day.
What I was going to say is just that documentary. Number one, if you can buy it on Blu-ray or digital, fucking don't, because one of my biggest issues with it is like to make it fit widescreen, they just chopped off the top and the bottom.
That's great. Well, I mean, it wasn't shot for widescreen. It was shot fucking square.
Exactly. So give me the fucking square if that's what it's going to be like. Like, don't get... It's like... Because what makes me think about that is when they talk to Foley's friend, when they start to transition into everything about Foley, and they go to his house, like, his parents' house, and then, like, they talk, like I said, talk to his one friend. Like, you could, half his head, his forehead is chopped off because of, they're trying to format for widescreen. I'm like, if this is what it is, give me just the square. I have a Super Nintendo Classic. I have a Nintendo Classic. So if I'm watching a square in the middle of the screen, it's fine.
Yeah, my DVD is a square in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna.
It works great.
I'm gonna end up buying it on DVD. I think if DVD's cheap now.
I bought the DVD for like $3 at the exchange.
Yeah, but
because I couldn't find. I know I have another copy of it somewhere in a box somewhere, but I wanted to see it. Pam had never seen it, and it was like, oh, the exchange has it for $3. I'll buy that.
I bet you I can find
the DVD, man. The transfer is fine.
I think
it's not like that shit was shot high in def.
Yeah. I think if I look for it on Amazon, I think DVD will be cheap.
Oh, I'm sure.
There'll be people selling for like $1, maybe $2 to $3 shipping.
Yeah.
So it'll come out to be the same.
It's not like it was like you got a pretty wide DVD release and VHS release.
But what I was going to mention, it's like so weird, like watching that and like you see Foley's daughter now, like then, and she was in love with the camera then. And I was like, yeah. she got like a little taste of it and she fucking blew up. And she's just as goofy as her fucking dad. That's one thing I think I love about him too.
Yeah, it makes me feel incredibly old because I wasn't like a child when that came out.
Yeah. And
now she's like a full grown adult.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just another reminder that closer to the grave.
All right. Yeah, LA Park pinned Nick Gage for the win as we get back.
Of course he did. Legend.
Yeah.
I would fucking love. I hope somebody books La Parka for fucking Mania weekend. Any show that's in that White Eagle Hall that books La Parka, you've automatically sold a ticket to me. If I wasn't going to your show, I am now. Book La Parka.
Next up, we had the sub or the co-main, not co-main. Well, what the fuck were my right before the main event?
Well, I mean, I guess it was a co-main event.
I felt like it was.
Man, I love Kingston. They had a real hard match to follow, him and Tracy.
Yeah.
They had a really fucking hard match to follow.
But I do feel like they did it. Like they were two separate matches, and it took a little bit of while to get into it, but they took the time, and I felt like, by the end of that match, like I was into it.
Yeah,
and I didn't know what was going to happen.
It was kind of a slow burn to get there in the last match, but
yeah.
Man, Donst and Justice tore that place apart. That was fucking great.
So yeah, Tim Donst versus Matthew Justice for the AIW Intense Championship. And this is everything we thought it was going to be. It went fucking everywhere. And like I previously somewhat mentioned, the whole bit of Tim Donst and Matthew Justice going through the stage. I got a good video of that. And yeah, this match was nuts. This might be my match of the night.
Oh, it's my match of the night. It's one of my matches of the year right now. Like, it was fucking fantastic. That unprotected chair shot, man. Fuck, I cringe every time Justice takes one of those. But god damn it, does it look good every time. He got color early in the fucking match. And like, this match is a win-win for me. It's two of my favorite guys at AIW. Like, I just don't boo anybody in this match. Everything's good. And like, so I forget what show it was, but there was a show sometime in the last probably 6 to 8 months where it might have been the hip hop show where Justice tried to get up above the bleachers to that set of curtains, little landing thing up there.
Yeah.
I was looking at it from the bleachers, like with that angle, looking at the ladder on the stage. I think he was actually higher up with the ladder on the stage than he would have been up there. Like, I think that was a higher spot, if not the same height. That was a fucking crazy jump. It was real good.
Yeah, there was so much in this match. This is definitely one of those matches. The only way to describe it is just check out the MP4, DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, when it comes out. This was a crazy match. I do believe it, it went around all around the room. Yeah, all around the whole gym. And of course, like we said, breaking the fucking ramp right before the main event. But Matt Justice pinned Tim Donst to become the new AIW Intense champion.
How fucking great is that?
Side note, I just noticed I tweeted out Intense Champions. It was a crazy moment. I was really excited. Just the match was nuts. And then what we're going to see now with Matt Justice as the champion, right now in AIW, we have 2 local champions.
Yeah, I love it. I've been saying that shit for a while. That I like it when that's the case, when it's like the hometown guys are champs. I like it. It's almost like a reset. You know what I mean? Like, you've had so many other people, and I mean, Weird World didn't exactly take it from guys who aren't hometown guys. I realize Magnum travels, but like the production is an AIW thing. And Donst has a long history with AIW, but Matt has had a fucking year, like longer than a year.
He's had his year in let's say 2 years. Ever since he re-debuted in AIW.
Yeah.
It's just been this crazy match after crazy match and really rebuilding his stock in AIW. And it was believable that, hell, earlier this year that he was going to become some sort of champion. Didn't know if it was going to be Absolute. Didn't know if it was going to be Intense. Fuck, maybe he was going to get a rep tag team partner. We didn't know. But he had championship written all over him. And Tim Donst was the perfect opponent for that. He's a guy that some of the crowd loves. Some of the crowd hates.
Man, that love group was real small at this show. Like, there were times where I really feel like it was just Trevor and I yelling Tim fucking Donst, and then a whole bunch of people yelling sucks.
I think because it's Matt Justice. There was more, like, it was like, if it came between the two, I think a lot of people were going, you know what? Matt Justice is our guy. Like, I'll take him over Donst any day. But if it was Donst versus, I don't know, Gage or Donst versus Janela, there was more people chanting for Donst. My take on all that was when, like, there were so many people chanting sucks, I was like, fuck you motherfuckers, I was doing it 5 years ago.
Oh, so now they're bandwagoning.
That's really how I felt.
I hated Tim Donst before hating Tim Donst was cool.
I hate to be that dude, but I remember when it was Tim fucking Donst, and I was like one of the only people, maybe within 5 people, that was yelling at the top of their lungs, sucks. And
well, dude, I feel you, because I was just on the other side of it. Like,
yeah,
I genuinely feel like there were times when it was just Trevor and I yelling fucking Tim fucking Donst.
Like, Donst versus Gage, I'm rooting for Gage. Donst versus Janelle, I was actually rooting more for Janela than Donst. In this match, it was like, I really like Justice. I really do, but I've openly admitted that I've been cooler with Donst now, and some of his tweets lately have been hilarious to me. And he doesn't tweet a lot, so when I see a Tim Donst tweet, I read it, and I'm like, oh my god, that's if it's not like something promotional, it's like a joke, it's good. And the flip side of, like I mentioned, of like, okay, I was, 5 years ago, I was like the only one yelling sucks. Now, everybody's yelling sucks. I
can't imagine a scenario where I cheer against Tim Donst. Even when one of my favorite people is wrestling him, I'm just going to cheer for both people and enjoy that wrestling gave me a crazy fucking match.
I was going to say LA Park.
Yeah, I would just cheer for both. I'm telling you, I cannot imagine a scenario where I would cheer against Tim Donst.
He's tag teaming with Elgin.
I don't care.
I know. I'm just trying to figure.
I would just cheer for Tim Donst. I like Tim Donst, man. I'm a Tim Donst mark.
I'm happy over the past year or so. He's kind of got more opportunities. Like him getting an opportunity at Ring of Honor, I think is good, and I hope he gets more of that. I thought he had a really good start with Chikara, but then when Chikara went away for a while, I felt like he just kind of floundered.
Yeah,
and that might have hurt him, but I'm really happy for the dude on 100% pure real shit.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Justice, man.
Yeah,
every Justice match sort of feels like an EC. It's like the ECW moment of the night. He brings a little bit of that to every match, even if it's not like a no DQ match. It still has a little bit of that feel. I haven't seen that dude wrestle a bad match. I've seen him wrestle a fucking lot this year in person, and I've never seen him have a bad match. And he's a fucking really good dude, and I'm really glad that he's champ.
Between him and the Weird World, I'm really curious of who the first number one contenders are going to be. And Justice is, if it's not a rematch versus Don's, which, as much as I like rematches, we kind of had this going, like, this was, I hope it's supposed to be the final chapter. Let's go on to a new number one contender, a new matchup, and move on from there.
Yeah, I feel like there are a whole bunch of different places you can go with Justice as champ. Because he's a face, but he's not necessarily a face. You know what I mean? Sort of like where Donst is a heel, but he's not necessarily a heel.
Yeah.
Like, so there's like, I feel like it leaves the door wide open for who can go up against him in the future. I don't even know who naturally it would be. Like, there's nobody who stands out to me that I would be like, oh, that guy. That's who they'll have. That's who they'll have him go against next. I don't know. I think him and Eddie Kingston could have a fucking great match.
Oh God, yeah.
I would watch the fuck out of that match.
I don't know if it would happen as that soon, because getting into the main event of the evening, we have Eddie Kingston versus Hot Sauce Tracy Williams for the AIW Absolute Championship. And I'll admit, coming from that previous match, this match kind of lacked a little bit. Maybe just like getting into it because that first match was so good. Not take away anything from these dudes, but I understand why sometimes there's a buffer match to bring people back down and get them ready for another big match. But
to be honest, I kind of thought that La Parka and Nick Gage would be between the two championship matches.
Yeah, I could see that. That would have been a really good cool down period for us. But yeah, fucking Hot Sauce Tracy Williams, Eddie Kingston. This was, well, first off, we had Gear Eddie.
We did. Basketball jersey Gear.
And the funny thing was, he was at, I think, AAW the next day. It was basketball jersey, basketball shorts Eddie.
Yeah.
But we got Gear Eddie the night before.
Man, Tracy sure has a great t-shirt.
Do you want to talk about this? Because you're the one that actually knew something about it.
Yeah, it's a old Japanese horror movie. Asu. Or House. It's good.
And he wore it as a mask.
Yeah. Yeah, he just changed the lettering at the bottom to say sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of house or Asu.
This may be something I should bring up to Jobber, but it's something I kind of notice more. How many shirt designs are just parodies of something.
Man, and I usually hate parody shirts, but that's such an obscure fucking reference.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obscure enough that some people didn't even know that it was a fucking parody shirt.
Yeah. And I think the point with parody shirts is for someone to go, oh, I like this thing and I like this wrestler. So I'm going to buy this shirt to be like, hey, I like these two things. Like, for example, one that just came to my mind was the Magnum CK. Actually, let's talk about, I was going to mention his Oregon Trail one, but no, let's talk about his last shirt that he sold, which was an Andy Kaufman shirt. And I as soon as I seen it, I was like, oh, I love Andy Kaufman. I have that actual shirt. I'm going to buy the Magnum shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fucking great shirt. Cam bought one. He obviously didn't have my size, so I just let her get one in her size so she can wear it. But yeah, it's a great shirt. I love Andy Kaufman, man. When I was at StarCast, I woke up really early and went and listened to Lawler and Bill Apter talk about the whole run with Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
And like singing the song at the end of Magnum's thing was like a Kaufman thing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always say this about Kaufman, like him in wrestling. I feel like he's the greatest heel of all time. People can say Hogan, people can say Vince. I'll say no, because what I always felt as a kid watching clips of everything that happened, I felt like everybody was just hated him. And I don't think you could do that today. You can't have an actor. You can't have, I don't know, somebody from SNL. Like, you can't have Kenan Thompson come in and just shit on professional wrestling and make you want to see him get beat and actually put forth all the effort into wrestling. Like,
well, but the thing with Kaufman was he like really respected wrestling.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And I think that's where people got Arquette wrong the first time. And I mean, you can blame Vince Russo for that. But like Arquette really respects wrestling. And you can tell that he does. And I've heard people draw comparisons between Kaufman and Arquette, and I think that's a little misplaced. Arquette's not trying to do what Kaufman did. And, like, there was so many little, like, nuances to what Kaufman... This has just turned into, like, a long diatribe about Andy Kaufman. But, like, there were so many little things that Kaufman did, just in, like they talked, Lawler and Apatow talked about how, like, some of those matches against women were just a fucking shoot. Like, he would eventually just pin them, but yeah, like, they just went. Like, in his early Memphis matches. And, like, they talked about just, like, how respectful he was in the back and, like, how they were friends and, like, Apatow's role in the whole thing. Like, of all the shit that happened at StarCast, for every horrible, dumb, everybody come sing with Papa Buck bullshit thing that happened, like, if there's anything worth buying just to, like, to learn some wrestling history and to get, like, some fucking cool insight on something that was amazing and weird in the history of wrestling, just go on Fight and just buy that one thing if you can. Just that Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler, Bill Apatow thing. It was fucking great.
I'll even throw this out because I know, granted, not a lot of people really like Lawler and all this shit. Like, I don't personally, I don't care what people say, but early on when he started his podcast, the Dinner with the King, I'm actually pulling it up right now. Episode 6, he starts talking about Andy, and like it's it's called Andy Kaufman the beginning. Next episode is called Andy Kaufman versus Lawler, the first match. 2 episodes later, it's the David Letterman late night slap, like talking everything about that. The next episode, episode 10, happens to talk more about Andy Kaufman. I mean, he stretches it out. Episode 13 is Andy Kaufman is not alive. I thought there was more, but I could be wrong. But anyway, he goes into his own, like, talking about Andy Kaufman. And it sounds like, I mean, that really kind of follows the format that they did at StarCast. Yeah. Of going through the whole thing and, like, stuff where, like, there were things they were doing where Andy was sick and he hadn't told them. Yeah. Like, Andy already knew he was sick when they did that Letterman spot. Yeah. Yeah. So they talk about a lot of that stuff. He was also, like, and you're right, he was, like, Arquette was a pretty big star when he won the WCW belt. Like, Scream had been out and shit. Yeah. But, like, Andy Kaufman wasn't just on Saturday Night Live. He was on fucking Taxi, too. Mm-hmm. He was a big fucking deal. Mm-hmm. I don't know who I would compare him to right now. I don't know that there is anybody right now that you would compare him to. I don't know. I think it's hard. Yeah. Because... remember this, too. Like, now there are 500,000 things on TV. Mm-hmm. So even if you're a star on SNL and you have, like, a fucking sitcom, you're still not as famous as Andy Kaufman was then when there were fucking 4 or 5 TV channels and he was on 2 of the shows on those 4 or 5 channels. I have a particular show that I listen to that actually talks about how, like, you know, in the, like, 70s and 80s, obviously way before that too, but 70s and 80s were, like, the last moment of only a handful of people were famous because you had to do a lot to be famous. Yeah. Yeah, you either had to be famous for doing something in sports, famous for being on TV in some capacity or in movies in some capacity, or in music. Outside of that, you were either a politician or the Pope. Yep, pretty much. Anyway, out of the Andy Kaufman talk, yeah. Eddie Kingston versus Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. This thing was a slow burn, man. Mm-hmm, it was. I've never made it a secret that I think Tracy Williams is a little... and this match started slow. But when it got to where it was going, everybody was into it. Like, there were a couple of points where it really looked like, oh shit, Kingston's gonna win. Every belt is gonna change hands tonight. I was thinking that. I'm like, when's the last time that? I'm like, oh yeah, wait a minute, Absolution. That's when it happened. They all changed. Yeah. And that just happened this Absolution. Right, we're not that far removed from it. I don't know the way to explain this. It just... I felt like, okay, Tracy Williams is going to win. But they gave me moments where I was like, ooh, maybe maybe this is the moment we make Eddie Kingston champion. But no, 1-2 kick out or 1 kick out.
Yeah. It was a good match. It had a really hard match to follow. And it had been like an upward trajectory all the way up to that match. You went from like all the fucking flippy shit in the Lucha match to then Gage versus La Parka, which upped the intensity some, and then to Dawnston Justice, where the intensity went through the fucking roof, and then bring it back down to this kind of slow feeling each other, little bit of mat work match between Eddie and Tracy. I thought for what the match was, it was really fucking good. It just, started a little slow.
And Tracy Williams pinned Eddie Kingston to retain the AIW Absolute Championship. And then after the match, while both of them were on their back, at least Eddie, he put over Tracy Williams, which was cool to see. Eddie Kingston is a class act. I absolutely love the dude.
Battle in New York for the AIW Absolute Championship.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yonkers versus Brooklyn. I don't know who they're going to have Tracy eventually drop the belt to. Like, do you think Tracy's still champion at Mania?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, like, he's a dude that I could expect to come in as champion, and there's probably going to be so many technical wrestling fans that are going to want to see him. But then, like, I don't know. It's like, who do you put him up against? And I don't 100% know all the dates going forward. I was given all the dates for Mount Carmel.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that's every show. Normally in March, we have Gauntlet for the Gold.
Right.
And granted, that's going to give you your match for Absolution, but that helps set the table.
Well, normally in February, there's at least some kind of show.
Yeah. As far as what I understand, if everything's going forward as it was before, there's not going to be a January show. Don't quote me. AIW is known for having a show pop off like within a 2-week notice. Like they put everything together before, or I should say maybe a week before they announce it. So there could be a January show, but I think because of
last year was just because Ray was going to the E.
So I think with everything going on with WrestleMania weekend, they are going to take January off.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Which I'm halfway happy about, only because that means it's easier to plan episodes and I can get stuff ready ahead of time. But that's just, podcast talk shit. So.
Yeah. End the year on a high note with fucking Tanaka and then fucking let everybody chill out until February. Plus the weather in January is just fucking awful. Not that it's good in February.
I was about to say February is the August of winters.
Yeah. Like, February is always fucking awful too.
August.
Ohio would be great if it wasn't for January and February.
Yeah. August is just that miserable heat. February is the miserable snow.
Yeah, it seems like we always get like super dumped on in February.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if it's a fucking winter that's light, at some point in February, it just takes a giant fucking snow shit all over Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, we get through November, December, January, and it's like, oh man, winter wasn't that bad. And then
yeah. I'm not happy that we already have snow right now.
Oh, I was just talking to a friend of mine today. I was like, I fucking hate winter. I mean, we're both truck drivers, and he's like, man, we barely even started winter. I'm like, I know, but I always know I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing what you do for a living in fucking winter.
Yeah. It sucks. And anyway, that was the show. How did you feel about the final show at Our Lady of Mount Carmel for AIW?
I thought it was a fucking great send-off. There were a shitload of people in there. It was hot in that fucking room. There were so many people. I was glad to see that many people show up. There were people who you don't see real often who came in for that last show. Like, people who just come in every once in a while for AIW shows. I ended up making those dumb stickers that ended up being, like, kind of commemorative. Those little hologram tiger stickers. A ton of people, I handed them to them and they didn't realize what it was. And then I told them and they were like, oh, fuck. Yeah, it is that.
God.
Yeah. That was just the product of me being real high at Absolution. I'm looking at that tiger.
Do you know what would have been funny? We totally didn't think about it. Stickers of the post-game and pre-game prayers.
Post-game prayer, pre-game prayer, yeah.
Yes.
If they would have given me the option to print that shit on the back of my stickers, I would.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah. But I didn't, when I printed those, I didn't last show at Mount Carmel. I just printed them because I wanted them, because I thought it was funny, like, to have that hologram sticker. Like, I'd imagine you're old enough that they were still around. Yeah. Like the quarter machines at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And you'd fucking get the sticker and it was in the little folded piece of cardboard. And it would be like shitty art. It was always just like a shitty tiger or like shitty flowers. Like really bad, cheap, whatever art they could get. Like nothing. And then mass produce it and put it in those machines on like holograms. So you fucking, oh, look, I can make it show me fucking rainbow colors. So I don't know. That tiger just hit me as looking like that kind of art, and I wanted a hologram sticker for myself. And it was like, oh, well, I have to order at least 34. Oh, it's $4 more to get 50 of them. Fuck it, I'll just hand them out to people. And yeah, so yeah, I thought it was a good send off for the building. I think it's probably for the best. I think, you know, them not being able to serve beer and shit being weird because of cop collars and whatever else happened with that place. You know, I think it was time to move. It might be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping, because when we left Turner's Hall, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise, and hopefully this is also turns out to be a blessing in disguise. You know, we look back a year or so from now, and we're like, wow, like Mount Carmel's great, but you know, the growing we've done is crazy, and we could never go back to Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Like,
yeah, I think the thing that will really be telling for me, and I hope it happens, is that people come out like a motherfucker for this first show at Ohio Nets. Or is that the name of the place, Ohio Nets?
Yes, and Parma.
Yeah. Come out like crazy for this show. There's a number of reasons to do that, including the one announced person who's going to be there. But yeah, I mean, from the sounds of it, the place is fucking really big. The description sounds like it's like that place. Have you ever been down to IWC in Pittsburgh, in Elizabeth?
I've been to IWC, but I don't remember it was Elizabeth.
Their like regular home venue is like a big volleyball courts place that also has like places where people have wedding receptions and shit.
No, the one that I went to was their Night of Superstars, which is in which is in a high school gym, but it's still
Meadville fucking
Meadville. Yes, that's what it is, Meadville.
God damn, that was the fucking least organized mess. I'm not gonna shit on people. Well, their normal fucking place is like a big, like kind of big volleyball place that I'm assuming this place is like a giant warehouse. I think it could be cool. I think,
yeah.
I know those guys have bleachers that they set up like around the ring, and then they have seats on the floor too. I don't expect AIW to have bleachers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless that place already has them there. But yeah, I think what people really need to do is just make sure they pack the fucking house for that show, like they did for this Mount Carmel show, and you know, just ensure that the shit keeps going, man. Support the thing that you love.
I think there's a Sheets next door too.
Hey, man, that's great. I'm fine with the Sheets. It'd be better if it was a Get-Go, but I'll take a Sheets.
On a side note, just because I want to throw this out there, because it was a conversation I had before we even started recording, or before we got on the call, is I'm going to try to get in like the last Pilgrim of the year. They're currently available right now at I think my local Get-Go, but I know like once they're out, they're done. So it's like this last week.
All the way through Christmas last year.
No, the one I went to the one by my house, and it was like the weekend after Thanksgiving. They still had like the advertisements up for it, and then I went later in the week. All the advertisements were gone. They weren't on the menu, and I was like, I just missed it.
See, and so I guess you're right, but I just had the time period wrong, because the meatball sub on Pilgrim bread. They didn't have the bread that I usually get a meatball sub on, and the girl came from the back, and this was probably like 2 years ago, and was like, we don't have the bread you ordered. We still have Pilgrim bread. Would you want the meatball sub on the Pilgrim bread? And I was like, yes, I would. I didn't know that was a thing that could happen. So I think they were out of like the things to make a pilgrim, but they still had the bread.
Okay.
And the meatball sub on pilgrim bread is something fucking special. Little green peppers on there. It's fantastic.
All right. Any final thoughts or last minute plugs before we go?
R.I.P. Mount Carmel. Fuck you, new preacher guy, for hating wrestling. Fuck cop collars. Bring on the new shit.
Any personal plugs?
Oh, yeah, I do a podcast called Super Fantastic, and there is going to be a new episode in the next week that is going to be a special episode where we focus on one toy line, and this one is going to be Masters of the Universe.
I knew it. I had a weird feeling that's what it was going to be.
So, me and Rick, my friend who runs Time Capsule Toys and Toy-Hio, are going to sit down and go over the full run of Masters of the Universe. If you've watched the documentary series on Netflix, I'm sure you know some of it, but we're going to go in detail and go over pretty much the whole run of the original stuff and the new, like, the stuff that's out now. I don't know how much we're going to touch on, like, that weird Space He-Man shit.
I was about to say, because I've been seeing, like, photos online, like, almost all day or past couple of days of a newer line, and I go, oh, okay. Like, I never got into He-Man, so.
Yeah, it was Super 7 does a bunch of stuff now.
Yeah.
With Masters of the Universe. And then there's all the stuff that, like, exists from the movie. And then there was the reboot where they tried to redo He-Man, and it was just in space, and the figures were awful, and they didn't sell well. And then they did, in the early 2000s, there was a new cartoon that was not awful, that was almost anime style, and there were figures from it that it was the bridge that got you to where there's these like, new takes on the original figures.
Yeah.
That Super 7 does. But, yeah, that episode's going to be probably next week available. And it's going to be a thing that we do in addition to doing, like, the long-form interviews with people who collect or are super fans. Rick and I are going to start doing spotlights on different toy lines. So the first one's Masters of the Universe. I know Ninja Turtles is something that's going to come sooner than later, and probably Transformers too.
And then your personal stuff, like
yeah. So it is Super Fantastic on Twitter, Super Fantastic Podcast on Instagram, S Silvers on Instagram, Stacy Silvers on Twitter. Yeah. Hit me up. Tell me how much you hate me or like me or otherwise. Listen to the podcast if you like nerdy shit.
And of course, you can find myself at Heavyset330 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just like you can find this show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose to desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com. We have the merch store over at whatamaneuver.net. Help support the show by grabbing yourself a hoodie, a t-shirt, tank top, whatever. 2019, we'll probably have a new design or two that I kind of want to work on, but more on that next year. Please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, or wherever you're listening to it, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com, and check out all of our friends on the Trending Topics Network, such as All Beer Inside, Eurovision Showcase, Old School at the Movies, and Chill. And check out our other podcasting friends, such as Pod Van Dam, Center Stage, Super Fantastic Podcast, The Road Home from Wrestling, Kick Out at 2, The IndieCast, Sobro Network, and the Big Gold Belt Podcast. Check out our other non-podcasting friends, such as Thrift Store Jobber, Rebel Life Media, The Savage Dash, Set Tab Photo, Ringside Shots Photography, Sickening Pictures, with the world premiere of Powerbomb on December 6th at the Capitol Theater. Also, NEO Sports Insiders, and the official graphic designer of Wrestling Cheers, Moy Boy Designs. That will do it for us here on Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially if you think Nick Gage is an unsafe wrestler. Well, the listeners don't know your name, but I know your name. Later.
Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Would you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You're the way you can see.